You know that feeling, right? That little jolt of panic when your favorite app crashes or the Wi Fi just dies? It's maddening. But while we're staring at a frozen screen, there's a whole hidden world that springs into action, speaking a very specific, structured language to fix the problem. Today, we're going to learn that language.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to nail down what an incident actually is. Then, we'll get into the really cool part, how teams figure out what to fix first. After that, we'll talk about the difference between a quick patch and a real fix. And finally, we'll look at the two big strategies that guide this whole process. It's a structured journey, so let's dive in.
All right, first things first. Before you can fix anything, you have to agree on what to call it. It sounds simple, but getting the definition right is absolutely crucial. So what really counts as an incident?
Okay, so an incident, that's the official lingo for pretty much any unplanned hiccup. We're not just talking about a massive system crash. Even something like a website loading just a little bit slower than it should, yep, that's technically an incident. It's the universal starting gun that gets the whole problem-solving engine fired up. Now here's where it gets serious. Not all incidents are created equal. Some get bumped up to major incident status. This is the big one. This is when an entire e-commerce site goes dark or the company's email just stops working. Declaring a major incident is basically like pulling the fire alarm. It kicks off a whole separate, much faster process to get all the right experts in a room, like right now.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How do teams actually measure that business impact? How do they go from just knowing there's a problem to deciding which of the 10 or 100 problems they need to tackle first?
Well, it's not a guessing game or a gut feeling. There's a formula for it, and it's called priority. And that priority score comes from multiplying two things: urgency, how fast does this need a fix, and impact, how many people or systems is this actually affecting. This simple equation is how teams build a logical to-do list and take the emotion out of the response. And this is what that formula looks like in practice. It's a priority matrix. You can see a problem that's both high impact and high urgency. Top left corner, that's priority number 1, no question. But here's the interesting part. A super urgent issue that only affects one person might actually be a lower priority than a medium urgency issue that's slowing down the entire sales department. This grid is the playbook that ensures the most critical stuff always gets fixed first.
Okay, so an incident has been prioritized. The clock is ticking. But here's a critical distinction you absolutely have to understand. Just because a service is working again doesn't mean the problem is actually solved.
And this is a huge one. A workaround is all about speed. It's the quick and dirty fix to get things running again. Think of it as the duct tape of IT. Its job is to stop the bleeding right now. A resolution, on the other hand, that's the permanent fix. That's when you find the root cause of the problem and make sure it can never, ever happen again. Knowing the difference is key.
All right, we've got the problem, we've got the priority, and we know the difference between a patch and a real fix. Now, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. The two main philosophies for how teams manage this entire process from start to finish.
First up, you've got the incident model. Think of this as a detailed, step-by-step playbook for common problems we've seen a million times before. A password reset is the perfect example. The steps are always the same, everyone knows their role, and there are set timelines. It's all about being super efficient and consistent for those known, repeatable issues. But what happens when there is no playbook? For a brand new, complex, never-seen-it-before problem, teams turn to swarming. Instead of a rigid process, you pull in the right experts from all different teams and they literally swarm the problem together in real time. It's less like following a recipe and more like a high-stakes collaborative jam session to figure things out on the fly. Whew, so we've gone from a simple definition all the way up to these big picture strategies. Let's tie it all together. What's the real point of knowing all this? Why does this structured language even matter? Because, this whole lexicon, it pulls back the curtain. The next time you get an update that a workaround is in place for a high-priority incident, you're not just hearing tech jargon anymore. You're in on the secret. You understand the strategy, you can set realistic expectations, and you can really appreciate the incredible structured thinking that keeps our digital world from falling apart. And that leaves us with one final big question to chew on. As our technology gets crazier and more complex, where should we place our bets? Do we double down on the rigid structure of incident models, or do we embrace the creative chaos of swarming? The truth is, the future probably needs a bit of both, and figuring out that perfect balance, well, that's the real challenge.